Welcome back to Emoji Economics. My name is Olole Godwin. Today we will continue our discussion on correlation. So this is the second part of correlation. In this particular video, we shall be attempting a question on correlation, how to solve it and all of that. Now, there was a preceding video to this particular class that wasn't taken by me anyway. So it was taken by Mr. Isaac Temedayo, where he spoke about linear correlation, non-linear correlation, positive correlation, negative correlation, and all of that. I was even talking about some other experiments, correlation coefficients, Pearson correlation coefficient, and all of that. So if you've not seen that particular class, please make sure you do. Now, okay, so here there are two basic formulas for calculating correlation coefficients, and they are here. Now the thing is, I'm going to be making use of these two formulas for you to be able to choose one formula when you are solving on a correlation coefficient, maybe a test question or in an examination question. So you are not meant to use both. But the objective of this particular class is to prove that whatever formula you decide to use, you must arrive at the same answer. So if you think that a formula is shorter for you to memorize because we are getting into those interesting parts of econometrics, and you might have to, it's not even mind, you have to memorize quite a number of formulas, and these are not even too much. Okay, this is just the beginning. So I'm going to be proving that these two formulas are correct. Regardless of whatever question that you are attempting on correlation coefficients, for you to be able to confidently choose anyone that you want in your exam, in your assignments and all of that. Okay, so but there are important things that we should note in these respective formulas. Okay, the first thing is that we have a table. Now we are going to fill in this table subsequently, but at the beginning we have a table showing the data for quantities supplied as well as the corresponding prices. Now we have this column that is talking about the quantity supplied and this column that is talking about the corresponding prices. I've decided to name this X, meaning the dependent variable, the independent variable rather, and I've decided to name this Y, meaning the dependent variable. Although you learned in the previous class that in correlation there is no dependent variable, there is no independent variable. Okay, but just from economic theory, the price is what is going to influence the quantity supplied, provided that other variables are held constant. Okay, so if you decide to make this Y and you decide to make this X, as long as what you are calculating is correlation, your answers are still going to be correct, or your answer is still going to be correct. Okay, so we have this and this. Now the first formula that we are going to be using here, so it's like an R. This sign is like an R, but it is not an R. So this formula says that the correlation coefficient between X and Y can be solved this way. Number of observations, N is number of observations, sum of, so this is not E, this is not letter E, this is sum of XY, capital XY, minus open bracket, sum of X, close the bracket, open another bracket, sum of Y, then close the bracket. Everything there will be divided by the square root of, then you open a bracket, number of observations, sum of X squared, okay, minus, you open a bracket, sum of X, then you square it. So sum of X squared is not the same thing as sum of X in the bracket that you raised to power 2. So you close the bracket, you do the same thing for Y, number of observations, sum of Y squared, minus, you open a bracket, sum of Y, close the bracket, and square. So we're dealing with this formula first. Now the other formula, which is a different way of expressing this, says that the correlation coefficient between X and Y is equal to sum of small letter x and small letter y, where small letter x simply means the deviation from x. Alright, so small letter x is given as capital X minus the mean value of x. Okay, and small letter y is given as capital Y minus the mean value of y. So you might be solving a question and you are giving small, because I think there was a time in my 400 level when we were given a question like that, and there was a small letter x somewhere, then a capital Y somewhere, and some people that didn't really know what to do, or some students just got confused and they interpreted the small letter x as a capital letter X and got the whole answers wrong. So that is what I really want you guys to avoid here. So if it is small letter x, know that it is a deviation, and if it's capital letter X or capital letter Y, just know that we are dealing with normal values. Okay, then everything divided by the square root of sum of X squared, small letter x, which is sum of deviation of X squared, then sum of small letter Y squared again, which is just saying that it is sum of Y minus bar Y, close the bracket, squared. So that is what it really means. So let's deal with this now. Now the first thing is number of observations, N. Now N, what you just have to do is to count the number of items under the variables. So counting the number of items under one variable is enough. Okay, so you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so since these are their corresponding prices, of course we always have the prices. So n number of observations is equal to 10. So we are done with that. Now sum of xy, so this simply means that we have to get xy. So we have to get a column for xy. Okay, for us, then we add everything together. So xy now is going to be, this is x, this is y. So just multiply through. So 10 times 2, so I will just name this xy. So 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 4 is 80. This is 300. Then we continue that way. And so having done this, I believe you are doing the same thing on a piece of paper or maybe your notes, and make sure you have your calculator with you. So 10 times 2 is 20, 20 times 4 is 80, 50 times 6 is 300, 40 times 8 is 320, then on and on until we get to this point where 120 times 20 is 2,400. So sum of xy simply means you sum everything that is under xy, okay, on the xy column. So by the time we sum everything, we have 8,520. So you keep that somewhere. The sum of xy is 8,520. Minus, then we have sum of x first, sum of x. Now this is, where is x? This is x. Alright, so we just sum everything. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus 12 plus 14. You sum up everything. And by the time you do that, using your calculator, you should be getting 110. Okay, so that's what you'll be getting. So that's that for sum of x. Then for sum of y, where is y? This is y. So we add everything together, 10 plus 20 plus 50 plus 40 plus 50, then all of that. So we'll be having 610. Okay? Please make sure you verify all of these things on your calculator. Please don't rush. There is no need to rush. Now the next thing is, okay, so we are done with the numerator now. Then we get to the denominator. Divided by, you have square root of sum of x squared. So that means we have to get x squared. So there should be a column for x squared. Then we sum up every value that is under that. So do you have x squared yet? No. So we can just call this x squared. X squared. So this is 2. So 2 raised to power 2 is 4. 4 raised to power 2, that's 4 times 4, 16. Then we continue. So when we do that, we are left with 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16, 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, until we finish filling the column. So what we just have to do, sum of x squared simply means we sum up everything like I said earlier. So we add everything, 4 plus 16 plus this plus this plus this, everything is going to give us 1540. Please make sure you verify all of these things with your calculator. So what is the next thing that we need? So we need sum of x, okay, sum of x, open a bracket, sum of x, close the bracket, then square. Okay, so how do we get, where is sum of x? This is sum of x. So what we just have to do is to square this value. So by the time we square this value, so since sum of x equals 110, sum of x squared now equals 110 squared, and that is going to give us 12100. Is this 00? Okay, yeah, I think so. 12100. So let me just verify that using my notes. 12100 exactly. So that is what we are going to have here. 12100. So we are done with sum of x then squared. Now we know our number of observations, of course, it is 9, it is 10. So sum of y squared, So we have to get y squared, then we sum up the values. So what we just have to do is we have a y squared here. Good. So this is y. When we square this value, we have 100. When we square this value, we have 400. Then we continue. When we are done filling the table, so we have 10 squared is 100, 20 squared is 400, 50 squared is 2,500, 40 squared is 1,600, 50 squared, and we continue like that. So when we fit everything, so all we just have to do is to sum up everything. So you add it, when you've added it, you are going to have 47,700. Please verify this using your calculator. Now, okay, so what do we have left in the formula that we've not dealt with? So we have sum of y, then square. Sum of y, then square. I believe you already had sum of y. So if this is y, okay, so we summed up y to have 610. So sum of y is 610. Sum of y is 610. So sum of y squared will be 610 squared. So by the time we do 610 squared, we'll be having 372,100. 372,100. Okay, good. So there we go. We now have everything that we need in this particular formula. So to calculate what we need to calculate, so we are going to have this equals 10 into brackets. What is sum of xy? sum of xy. So this is xy, sum of x 8520 minus sum of x is 110. So we have 110 close the bracket. We have 610 for sum of y. So we just do something like this. Okay, divided by, so we have these roots that covers everything underneath. So we have 10. Okay, let me just something like this. So we have 10 into brackets. What is sum of x squared? This is s squared. So sum of x squared is 1540. 1540. Okay, good. Then we have sum of x that we have in bracket then squared. So which is 12100. 12100. 12100. So I could put this in brackets. Okay, put this in bracket. Then we open another bracket. We have 10 into bracket. Sum of y squared. So this is y squared. After we sum up everything, we have this. So 47,700 minus. So let me just erase this to create space for what we want to do. Then sum of y squared. What is sum of y? So we have sum of y as 610, and by the time we squared it, okay, 610. By the time we square, we have 372,100. So we have 372,100. So I can just do this, and then we close the whole thing. So remember that this square root sign is extending towards that side. So by the time we do all of this, so 10 multiplied by this minus, let me just do it. 10 multiplied by this is 85200 minus 110 multiplied by 610 is going to give us 67100. All of that will be divided by we have this, the root sign, the square root sign. Okay, so 10 multiplied by 1540 is going to give us 15400 minus 12100. So you close this. So open the bracket. 10 multiplied by this is going to give us 477,000 minus 372,100. So this extends here. Good. Okay, so at the end of the day, by the time you do, it's 5,200 minus this, we are going to be left with 18,100. So divided by, so this minus this is going to give us 3,000. So we still have the roots. Okay, so we have 3,300 minus, when we subtract this from this, we have 104,900. Please verify all of these values. Okay, no, we have this. Okay, there's no subtraction there. 104,900. Okay, so we are then we have 18,100. We are trying to make all of these very simple for everyone to understand. So this multiplied by this, which is going to give us 346. Okay, 170,000. Then we are left with 18,100 divided by the square root of this is going to give us 18,605.64, rather 0.64. So you divide this and we'll be left with 0.9728. So the correlation coefficient is going to be 0.9728. Now, when you are treating economics and you arrive at a figure, that is simply mathematics, or that's simply the end of statistics. So you have to give the economic interpretation of whatever final answer that you've obtained. And that is simply one of the differences between students that end up having an A and those that end up having a C. It's the same thing, but another student will just end here and move on to the next question. Whereas an A student would then interpret this, that this figure 0.972 shows that there is a strong positive correlation between the price of this commodity and the quantity supplied. So that economic interpretation is very, very important, because that is the economics of everything that you've done on the board. Now the next thing is to make use of this formula, okay, to see if you are going to arrive at this value again. So that's what we want to prove, to see if you are going to arrive at this value again. So then I'll be making use of my blue pen. That's if it shows on the screen that it is blue pen anyway. Okay, to calculate that. So let's see what we are going to get. Recall that I mentioned that small letter x is actually the deviation, which is capital X minus bar x, and small letter y is capital Y minus bar y. Bar y is the main value. Okay, so how do we get the main value? How do we get the main value? Since what we need here is this sum of small x and small y, and small x itself is this. Okay, we already have x, we already have the column for x, so how do we get the main value? The main value is simply, we obviously know how to calculate the mean, so bar x is going to be equal to sum of x divided by n. So what is the sum of x? Sum of x, by the time we obtain that, we add 110, so we have 110 divided by 10, so the main value is 11, so bar x is 11. So let's do the same thing for bar y straight up, so we don't waste time. So bar y is going to be the sum of y divided by the number of observations. So sum of y is 610. 610 divided by 10 is going to give us 61. Good. So we have to fill in our next column. So our next column, I'll call it small x. And you should note that this small x simply means big X minus the main value of x. So what you have to do now is, what is a big X? What is x? So x here is 2, right? So 2 minus 11. Alright, that's x minus bar x. So for the first row on this column, so we have 2 minus 11, and that's going to give us a minus 9, of course. Then we have 4 minus 11 by x, which is going to give us a minus 7. Then we move to 6 minus 11, which is going to give us a minus 5, and then we complete the column. So after filling in the column, so we are going to have minus 9, minus 7, minus 5, minus 3, then to this point. Now, what I really want you people to note at this particular point is, by the time you sum up the deviation itself, by the time you add up everything that is here, your final answer must be 0. Okay, if it is not 0, this is just to cross, it's not really necessary, but it's to cross check if what you are doing is right. So by the time this is a minus 9, a minus 9 plus a 9, that's 0, minus 7 plus a 7, that's 0, minus 5 plus a 5, that's 0, minus 3 plus 3, that's 0, minus 1 plus 1, that's 0. So by the time you sum up everything that is here, you must have 0 to cross check if your answer is correct or not. But is that really where we are going to? Okay, so we are done with that anyway. Then we have this, which is y minus bar y, which is the small y. So where is the column for y? This is 10, and bar y is what? 61. So 10 minus 61, that's going to give me a minus 51. Then I have 20 minus 61, which is going to give me a minus 41. Don't worry yourself about the sign. Then 50 minus 61 is going to give me a minus 11. Then I continue. Minus 21, minus 11, minus 1, 19, 29, 59, 59, music really 29. Okay, 90. Okay, so I haven't filled the column, so they have minus 51, minus 41, minus 11, minus 21, minus 11 again, minus 1, then all of that. So by the time you sum up this deviation as well, you are going to have 0. Okay, which simply means that what you are doing is correct. So what else do we need? So we need a sum of xy. A sum of xy, which simply means that we have to multiply this x, the deviation of x, and the deviation of y, and then sum up whatever answers we have on the column. So minus 9 minus 51, minus 9 times minus 51 is going to give me, okay, I'm looking for xy now. It's going to be 459. So I have 459 over here. 459. Please make sure you use your calculator to cross check. So this times this is going to give me 287. So I have 287, then 55. So we continue 63. So when we are done with that, so we have this multiplied by this, giving us this, minus 7 times this, 287, minus 5 times. So that's the minus sign is not cancelling out, except at this point. 1 times minus 1 is minus 1. Please leave it that way. Please leave it that way. Okay, so this is minus 1. So we are done with, and the sum of everything now is 1810, which means we are done with what the numerator is. So now we move to the denominator, which is the square root of sum of x squared. So we need small x squared, which simply means that this x, the deviation here, has to be squared. So we square it. When we square it, minus 9 times minus 9 is going to give us 81. So minus 7 times minus 7 give us 49, and we proceed downwards. Okay, so we have minus 9 times minus 9 will give us 81, minus 7 times minus 7, 49, minus 5 times minus 5, 25, minus 3 times minus 3 will give us plus 9, then everything like that until we are done. So we add up everything that is on this column and we get 330. So what is the last thing? So we need y squared, okay, y squared, which is this small y, it's not capital Y, this small y squared. So all we have to do is to multiply, is to square whatever value we have under this column. So 51 squared is going to give me 2601, according to what I have in my notes. Then 41 squared will give me 1681. Please verify that. Okay, and I would fill the table. Obviously, we don't need the last column. Okay, it's fine. So y squared is now going to be, this time this is 2601, 41 times 41, 1681, 11 times 11 obviously is 121, 21 times, okay, on and on like that. Okay, 19 squared, yeah, 19 squared will give us 361 until we get this value. So we sum up everything that we have here, and we are left with 10,490. So that is the answer for the sum of y squared. So we have everything that we need to make use of this formula. All we just have to do is substitute our figures in this formula and see what we are going to get. So r x y, this is capital X and capital Y because you are trying to look for the correlation coefficient between these variables x and variable y. Okay, so this is not the deviation. Please make sure that you understand the difference. Okay, so equals, what is sum of xy? Sum of xy is 1810. I think this formula is straightforward, as you are probably agreeing with me in your minds. Then we have square root sum of x squared. So where is x squared? This is x squared. The sum of x squared is 330. Then sum of y squared. Sum of y squared is 10,490. Okay, so let's see what we are going to get. So we have 1810 divided by 330 square root of 330 multiplied by 10,490, and that is going to give me 3461,700. Okay, then we continue with that. We have 1810. By the time we take the square root of 3461,700, we are going to have 1860.56, which is going to give us 0.9728, and that was what we got initially. Okay, I've erased it. I wasn't meant to erase it. I erased it, so we got 0.9728 initially, exactly. Okay, which simply means that whether you choose to make use of this formula or you choose to make use of this formula, just choose whichever is easier for you to memorize and make use of during your assignment, test, and exam, and you are going to get the same answer. So if there is one of your classmates that makes use of this formula while you are making use of this formula, that doesn't mean either of you is wrong. Just make sure that your answers have to be the same, since you are considering the same question. So that's that about that. In our next class, we'll be talking more about econometrics. So I would like to see you around. Make sure you click the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and turn on notifications by clicking the bell button that appears afterwards. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section. We really appreciate them and attend to them as quickly as possible. See you next time. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure you click on the subscribe button as well as the bell button to turn on notifications. Now, to make the learning experience easier and better, we've come up with a WhatsApp group that makes use of our YouTube channel, and that is to ensure that our classes become more interactive and students get more engaged. But we actually observe that students don't really finish their online courses due to boredom, because they are the only one and their computers or their phones. So because they don't have someone to interact with, to ask questions, to reply to them, to take tests and exams, they end up not finishing those courses, irrespective of whether they paid for the courses or not. And because of that, we've decided to come up with MOG School of Economics WhatsApp group that makes use of our YouTube channel. Now, these WhatsApp schools are divided into 3 based on the way economics is run in your school, your respective schools. Now we have the School of Microeconomics, and we have the School of Macroeconomics as well as the School of Econometrics. Now, what we do there is to have regular brainstormings 3 to 4 times a week. We have monthly tests, which is basically monthly exams, because they're actually exams and you are going to enjoy them. So we have monthly exams. You are free to ask us questions whether on the topic that we are treating on the on the group currently or not, and so on and so forth. So all of these are going for just 2,000 naira on a monthly basis. I forgot to add something, that you can also win cash prizes on a monthly basis based on your exam performances. So if you are able to be among the top 3 students based on exam performance, you are going to win cash prize, and that means you can keep winning for as long as you remain among the top 3 students, among our top 3 students based on exam performance. So what you are going to do now is check the description of this video. You are going to find a WhatsApp link there. Click on the WhatsApp link for more. Thank you very much, and see you next time. All the best.